I will give the word to who's next then. It's Dimitris with Amiberry. Dimitris, are you with us?
I'm here.
Perfect. Thanks. Then the floor is yours.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Dimitris. I'm a software developer and the creator of Amiberry. Now, some of you might be wondering, what is this Amiberry? Well, it's basically an Amiga emulator, similar to WinUAE, but created specifically for ARM devices, such as the Raspberry Pi. Most of the features, well, actually, let me start it up also so you get an idea of how it looks like. I'll make it a bit bigger. Now, most of the features in Amiberry come directly from WinUAE, and even the GUI is designed to look similar. Because the target is to run on those low-powered ARM devices, there have been some optimizations in that regard, while at the same time, some of WinUAE's features have not been implemented, things like PPC support, for instance, or multiple hardware expansions. That being said, there are some features that were developed specifically for Amiberry, such as the WHT load booter or host run. And I'd like to demonstrate some of these to show you a little glimpse of what's possible. The WHT load booter is a mechanism that allows you to run WHT load games contained in LHA archives directly. And not only does it simplify running a game, as there's no disk swapping anymore, and it loads faster, but we've also built a mechanism to automatically change the emulator settings to the best known for that specific game, so you get maximum compatibility. There are two ways to run that. One is from the GUI, which I'm going to show. There's also a way to do it from the command line. So from the GUI, you can go here and just pick one of the recent ones that I've been testing with. I'll just pick the first one and click on Start. And get nothing back. Well, that's interesting. It's a classic with live presentations. Let's try that again. So I'm going to pick, it doesn't really matter which one, but I have a large collection of games here for testing. Let's pick Gods. Oh, that's great. Well, I'm not going to show you the WHT load booter because I messed something up while testing this yesterday, I guess. But I am going to show you the next item in my list, which was host run. Host run was a feature that was developed specifically in close cooperation with AmiKit, and it allows you to have a more hybrid environment, blending between Amiga OS and Linux. And what it does basically is it allows you to execute a command from within Amiga OS directly into Linux behind it. Let me show you what I mean. So for instance, let's say you want to run Firefox. You can just run that and have Linux executed in the background. Now, how fast that goes depends on your actual SD card and Linux machine, of course. Let's say you wanted to run, you can also pass parameters to it. So let's say you wanted to run Firefox opening up a specific page. In this case, I'm going to open up Amiberry's page, project page on GitHub. And this also allows you to have nice little features such as file associations. So you can open up file types that normally Amiga OS doesn't have capable software to handle, such as MPEG-4 files or MP3 files. And in this case, to demonstrate, I've added an icon association with an MP4 file to open it up on VLC on the other side. So this basically opens up VLC on Linux behind it, and you get to play the file. And I've done the same with MP3s using another Linux player. And you can easily switch back and forth between these, of course. So this is to make it easier to utilize the Linux power behind the scenes. Now, all of this is all these features are in the current version. Currently, version 4.15 is the one I'm showing you here. And this is on release candidate 5 at the moment, and it's expected to be released as a stable version pretty soon. It's going under testing. As you can see, I found out a bug just now with the WSD load booter. But one of the other interesting features that this version brings is support for physical floppy drives. And what this means is basically you can use your real Amiga floppies to boot from them or read and write to them, which was impossible until recently. This whole thing is possible for thanks to Rob Smith's Drawbridge project. And he has done the work about modifying floppy drives using an Arduino controller and a custom firmware. And the whole thing there is also open source. You can get, you can do it yourself, or you can find somebody who has built it and buy a ready kit for it. And then you just enable it in Amiberry, and you can use it as a DF0 drive or any other drive you assign it to. This feature is also coming to WinUAE a bit later. Once this is finalized, he is currently adding high density drive support. So you can also use high density floppies. Now, if all this seems interesting, you might be wondering, okay, where can I find Amiberry? Where can I download it? How can I use it? Well, this is the good part. Amiberry is already included in multiple distributions. AmiKit, Pimiga, RetroPie, Amibian, DietPie, RetroArena, Batocera. There are many, and there are even more that I can mention here, I'm sure. And usually all these distributions take care of installing, or they already have installed Amiberry for you. And in many cases, you can also handle updates from them. So it's very easy. They have their own systems. But besides that, you can also get it manually if you want to. When I mentioned the GitHub page here, well, we already had it open. This is the main project's website where we have releases. We can get binaries, precompiled binaries for every release, including the release candidate at the moment. But the binaries provided here are only for some of the supported platforms. I don't have all the possible combinations of platforms plus Linux distributions to compile them for here. So if it matches what you have, it's great. If not, you can also get the sources and compile it directly for your platform by following the instructions in the README here. It has detailed instructions of what requirements are there, what you need to do to compile it yourself. The project is, as you guessed, it's open source. It's all available on GitHub, and it's distributed under a GPL3 license. If you would like to support it financially as well, there are options for Patreon, Open Collective, and PayPal here. And if you would like to have any questions, or if you had any bug support, any bug reports, or any new features, there is an issue. You can open up an issue here. There's an issues page where we usually keep them organized. And you can also see what is currently there. And if you would like to have, if you had questions and you'd like to have some sort of discussion regarding that, there's also a discussions page on GitHub. This is the main hub of all the activity. This is the address of the GitHub page if it makes it easier. But besides GitHub, there's also a Facebook page you can go to where we have announcements, and there you can also ask questions and get some help. And besides all of these, there are, of course, dedicated forums, various forums, usually per distro, where you can also get help from the community. And there are Discord servers as well that you can connect to and get help, even more help directly from people there. There are many features we could cover, but unfortunately, I don't think we have enough time to show you all of them. And I wanted to leave some room for questions. Hopefully there are some. So let's see if you have anything.
I see already something in the chat. So do we need modified drives to do it?
Yes, for the floppy drives, I assume you mean. Yes, it doesn't work on all drives. They need to be modified with an Arduino controller. All the details are on Rob Smith's website, which I should mention actually. Maybe I can show you that one. Let me do it from in here. I forgot to put up a link on that, so sorry about that. But it's quite easy to find. if you look up Amiga Rob Smith, it should be the first hit that comes up. And it's this project, Amiga Floppy Disk Reader Writer, or also known as Drawbridge. So this site has all the details, including specifications and how to build it, and a blog of how he went through the journey of making something that was considered impossible into possible. He also has a Discord server that you can join to get more details about help and specific questions regarding, will this work, will that work? Where we also check and test various games and what settings they work best with.
Okay. Last time, or at least in one of our previous talks, yeah, it was the last one in June, we had the guys from Retrobit Lab showing their waffle device for Amiga. Do you know if there is, have you been in contact with them? Do you know if that one is working as well?
I haven't been in contact with them, no. I do know that Rob's implementation has support for Grease Weasel, which is another popular hardware that seems to be popping up. If you go here in the expansions and you go into this niche section, which is disk controllers, you have both of them. But I only have Drawbridge to test with here. So I've only been testing this. I haven't been testing Grease Weasel. I don't know how well that will work, but theoretically it should work as well.
Maybe we
if
can
not,
use
let us know so we can fix it.
Exactly, I would say let us use this this meeting today as well to do a call to the community.
Yep.
People, please try it at home and then send some comments back to Dimitris. I see another question. Amiberry is now some piece of software making RPI useful for us. Raspberry Pi, I guess. I don't know. Thanks. Okay, it's not a question.
Yeah.
It's not a question in itself. I have a question. You said you can compile it yourself. Do you have any idea on the compilation time, more average? Of course, it depends on the machine, etc.
A Raspberry Pi 4 takes about 5 to 6 minutes to compile it from scratch.
Okay.
If you already have a compiled version from an earlier release, then it will take less time because it will only compile the differences. So if there are very few differences, it might compile just one file and get it in 5 seconds.
Yeah, but even 5-10 minutes, that's still okay compared to.
No, it's not a huge project.
Good. Okay. I don't know if there are other questions. Is there a plan to bring Amiberry to x86?
There was a thought about that, and I would love to see it running there. The only really problem with that is lack of time. It takes time because this has been optimized for ARM at the moment, and to bring it back to x86, we'd need to change a lot of parts. Basically merge them from WinUAE, but also change them from Windows specific to Linux or generic, because some of those pieces are, for example, are assembly for x86. We might need to change them around. So yes, it's possible. It is in the plans as to do, but help is needed. If there's anybody willing to help along, it would be great.
That's good to know. So that's also a call to the community to support, and they can join you. Yeah, perfect. So the one who has a question, I don't know who it is, but if you volunteer, then yeah, feel free to contact Dimitris.
Or if you're patient, it will take time.
I don't know if there are other questions coming up. You can also unmute yourself and just ask a question if there is any. No, I don't think so. Then I would say thanks a lot, Dimitris.
Thank you for having me.
And the transition is easy because the next one we remain in the Amiga sphere, I would say.